Hello guys, welcome back. In this video, we will look at how we can generate RSA keys using OpenSSL. Let's jump in. Here is a Ubuntu machine and I have the terminal open. The command obviously is the OpenSSL. OpenSSL. And then we need to tell the command to generate keys based on RSA algorithm. And the option for that is gen RSA. Now we need to tell where to write the key. So we're going to say out and we'll give a file name my private1.pem. So what is PEM? PEM stands for privacy enhanced mail. That is a format here. So PEM is a base64 encoded certificate format. So it will create or write the key in a certain format to that particular file, and you can actually call whatever. I mean, you could say txt for that matter. It really doesn't matter, but you know it helps because it's a standard to use .pem. Next, you should tell that OpenSSL command the size of the key. So you could do something like 256. Of course, it's a much smaller compared to the industry standard 1024 or 2048. So when you do that, you get a file out. Let me cat the file. That's how it looks. So now let me generate a bigger key. Let me do 2, and this I'm going to say 1024. Do a cat. I mean to say, hit enter. Now let me cat on my private2 file. As you can see, it is much bigger. So let me go ahead and delete all this, and let me go ahead and create a file. I'm going to call it private1 1024. Hit enter, and now you have the key. Cat the file. We have the file. Now, a couple of things about this. Number one, it has a header. Every private key or a public key or a certificate, which we will look at it in the future videos, they have a line at the top. It's a header line. It says begin RSA private key. For the public, it would say begin RSA public key, and for the certificate, it would be begin RSA certificate. And at the end, you have a line which says end RSA private key or public key or a certificate. And if you pay attention, you have 5 dashes at the beginning and 5 dashes at the end in this particular header. Same thing at the end, the trailer line. Whatever you see in between is the actual certificate. I mean to say the key, not the certificate. Let me correct myself here. Now, the key is not encrypted. You can actually see the key. That is the actual key. We'll talk about encryption in the next video, but want to make sure that you all understand that you can actually see the key in the plain text format. Now, next thing is, where is the public key? We know that an asymmetric key, we have both a public and a private key, and now we are talking private key. So where is the public key? You can extract the public key out of the private key. Let me do that. OpenSSL. Now we are saying RSA because it's RSA algorithm. So if you're telling the command to use RSA algorithm, and then we need to send in the file we are dealing with here, in this case, the private file. I mean to say private key file. And then what we do is we say that, hey, spit it out in the form PEM. And then we say we want pub out. We want the public key out. And then we want to write it to some file. I'm going to call it my public key 1.pem. It's done. Now if I list my content, now I have 2, and let me cat on the public key. Hit enter. As you can see, it says begin public key, and at the end it says end public key. So it actually extracted the public key out of the private key. Now there's a little caution here, because now that you can send this public key out to your public server, or out to your friends, you can put it out there so people can encrypt their documents or whatever they want to encrypt and send it back to you. That's when you do this. You generally use the public key to encrypt symmetrically and send it back. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but you would primarily, the whole point here is that you would share your public key out with the world. Now, the word of caution: the command that we used previously to extract the public key or the private key is this. Now look what I'm going to do. If I do this, it would create another file called my public key 2, and it will dump the public key into that file. No problem with that. However, if you forget to key in that particular option, which is pub out, if you forget that, look what happens. If I hit enter, it still says that writing RSA key, and it is done. If you list it, now you have my public key 2.pem, and if I cat on that particular file, it's 2, hit enter. Look what happened. It actually wrote your private key to that particular file. So one of the key things that you have to remember when it comes to extracting the public key out of the private key is that you have to make sure that you use the option pub out. If you don't use the pub out, it actually extracts the private key out of that private key. I mean, it's actually identical to the original private key. Let me show that. If I do diff on my private key 1 and my pub 2, there's no difference. If you look at the size, it's same, 877, 877. Well, I guess I made my point there. Next, a little thing about getting little information on the certificate. What you could do is open SSL RSA and then say in my private key and then say .text. What this does is it displays the information about the certificate. I mean to say the key. The key itself is at the bottom, and then you have the prime number, the exponent, the prime 1, prime 2, exponent 1, exponent 2, modulus. That information is displayed. And if you don't want to display the the private key at the bottom, you can say at the end no out. That would display the exact same information, except that it will not display your private key at the bottom. Well guys, that's it in this video. We looked at creating or generating the RSA keys using OpenSSL, and we also showed you how you can extract the public key out of the private key. Well, see you in the next video.